Good morning and happy New Year's, everybody. Welcome into 104.3 The Fans. Pre-game live as we get set for the Broncos taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead in Kansas City. Our very own Andrew Mason there. Cecil Lammy also hanging out with you for the next 15 minutes as we get set for kickoff. Mace, what can you fill us in on? There's a lot of news going around because it's Jerry's world and we're just living in it right now.
Yeah, I mean he fires two coaches on Monday. Montreal Washington out as punt returner. I'm curious to see how much Albert Okwuegbunam is used today because he's active and we saw him practice. Jerry was working pretty closely with him in drills at the start of practice, and now depending on who you believe, there may or may not be a change in play caller. So there's one report out there saying it's going to be Justin Outen. Or I've been given some indications it was going to be Clint Kubiak. So we're fixing to find out one way or the other. Big change is coming.
Change is coming. Mace, any injury report info you can give us?
Well, DJ Jones not playing, Baron Browning not playing. Those were the big things today, which means the significance of DJ Jones not playing. First of all, you look at the defensive line. You don't have DJ Jones. You don't have Draymond Jones. And so, yikes. Randy Gregory, of course, on IR yesterday. Baron Browning, he's not going to play because he's been dealing with a back issue. I mean, it's this could get really ugly today because I don't know. I mean, obviously you don't want to pressure Mahomes too much. You want to drop everybody into coverage, but I don't know. Mahomes might have all day to throw because what's left behind isn't going to be able to generate much pressure in any way, shape, or form.
All right. Well, Mace, safe travels back to Denver. Thank you so much for hopping on with us real quick.
My pleasure. Have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year. All right. So Montreal, Washington is inactive. Jerry Rosburg coming in and saying, no. I know special teams very well, Cecil. And he says, and you are not going to be it. Who are you expecting to see back there to return punts?
The guy who should have been drafted that they did pick up. It's should be like a Jalen Virgil. That Surtain stuff is stupid. Like, I won't entertain that. I won't talk about it. It's just dumb. It doesn't make football sense. So, like, go with who makes football sense for this team. But, like, for the love of God, finally, for the love of God, the adults are finally in charge. And I started getting messages this morning like, I'm not happy about this, that I was right about Montreal Washington. It's a 5th-round pick, but at the end of the day, it was a bad pick. The guy that you should have picked is starting for the Chiefs at running back. So think about that. Like Isaiah Pacheco, one of the best young running backs in the game, he's starting for the Chiefs. You're working through all these old veterans, like, and Latavius is fine and Marlon Mack is fine, but Pacheco is a fantastic up-and-coming runner who could have been a fine backup to Javonte Williams, but instead, you listen to Russ, you listen to Stukes, like all the people that were involved in this that weren't the scouts. Like, it was a bad pick. So, again, I'm not happy. I'm not making victory laps or whatever, but it's just like, finally, the adults are in charge and be like, oh, he's been horrible for what week is this? 17? Sorry, I'm answering. Pro tip to everyone out there: if you want my fantasy advice, don't ask me with 5 minutes left before kickoff, okay? And not to sound like a complainer, but like, I'm not going to answer your fantasy question if I get it like right now when I'm on air. But like, seriously, the adults are in charge, and so whoever it is, whatever, like, it's just not going to be Montreal Washington. And to that, I say good. And I think any chance that the kid had of being a playmaker might be ruined. Might be a little bit too early to say that. But Jalen Virgil was a guy at App State, was a way better returner. It's, for the love of God, it was Samford, okay? And talent can come from anywhere. And Fred Jackson played at Division III and Division II. And, Austin Eckler was at Western State. Like, yes, I get that. But you see that talent. And once they get on the pro field, like, Jalen Virgil should have been drafted. Montreal should have been undrafted. Then Montreal would be inactive every week or be on the practice squad or whatever. So, again, I'm not happy about this, but it's like, finally, someone made an adult decision that Nathaniel Hackett couldn't make, and Dwayne Stukes, who was buddy with Montreal, like, this is why. So, what the hell am I supposed to say?
When the other report, obviously there's conflicting reports about who is going to be calling the play calls, whether it's Clint Kubiak or Justin Outen. Would you rather say, hey, let's stay consistent and see if it was Hackett and the game plan that he put together and see if it's Russ that continues to be the issue? Or do you want to say, hey, try something new and let's see what Justin Outen can do?
Have Justin out and do something. Like he didn't do anything before. Like, he was the guy that just showed up. You know how in school you'll have the group of 4 in biology, right, or
Mhm.
chemistry or whatever, and it's like you all do the project together, and you got that one guy that doesn't do anything, but you get the A, and because that guy's part of your group, he gets the A. Well,
Yep.
this was an F, but Justin Outen's sitting there like doing nothing, getting the F. So
Mhm.
yeah, have Justin Outen do it, and it's not going to be all fixed today. Like the young players, this is where we're going to see the young players. As far as like Russ is going to be here. You got to fix Russ. I think Russ can play good football still. You have
Mhm.
to find that. Who is that? Where does that come from? These are all next year conversations. So today, I just want to warn the viewers and the listeners, like, let's not get ahead and be like, what did we learn today? We're not going to learn anything today unless it's young cats. Some young cats that are hungry, they want to make this team up and
Mhm.
coming. That's what we'll be watching for. We're going to learn nothing today because Alton's going to get fired. I mean, he's pretty much terrible. Not as garbage as Nathaniel Hackett was, but like he's going to get fired. Clint Kubiak will probably get fired with the next staff. Unfortunately, I like Clint, but like,
Mhm.
so, what do we learn? Like, nah, I don't care. Just show me some young guys and, hopefully the Chiefs don't kill them.
Jerry Rosburg seems to be making a case. He says he's not trying to add to his resume, but because he's making all these changes, it does make you somewhat believe that, hey, he wants to take his shot and go for it to see what can happen. What's been your favorite move so far that he's made?
Would it be bad if I said the Montreal Washington? I mean, just the practice and pad, just football, man.
Yeah.
Like football. Like we're back to football. And I happen to appreciate Rosberg and his long diatribes at the beginning of press conferences. I like that kind of stuff. We're getting keyholes. We're peeking through keyholes most of the time in the NFL. We rarely hear something like this. So I don't know. Everything, is there one thing specifically? He brought pads back. He brought football back. He brought actually being a head coach. You have to be, I know the term isn't what it once was, but you have to be presidential as a head coach.
Mm.
And you didn't get that from Nathaniel Hackett because he was a flipping goofball. Okay. And Vic Fangio is just old and grumpy or whatever, like whatever. So now you have someone out there who's like a football guy. You have a football person running this team, making real football decisions. Should anyone be shocked about what happened to Montreal Washington based on what he hasn't done? I don't care if he flashed. I don't care if they beat Florida or they look good against Florida. They didn't even beat Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just smart football. So when you watch football and you know football and you understand football the way that Jerry Rosburg does, that's why he's bringing it back, man. He's bringing it back, and I'm here for it.
We've heard the term 1-2-3 Cancun for some of these players. So do you think they'll actually go out there and play hard for Jerry?
They'll play hard for themselves. We're
Mm.
at the selfish point of
Season.
football where people just go, okay, I got to put film out there. I'm going to be free agent. I don't want to be here. I might get cut. I don't have a lot of dead money remaining. Like whatever the situation is. That's why the
Mhm.
young players, like, give me the young guys. Russell Wilson's not going to be all fixed today.
Yeah.
We're not. I doubt we even get any clues. And if we do, well, who's the next staff? It's not going to include Justin Outen. The guy's not good at his job. Like,
Mhm.
so who's the next staff? Like, these are all the things that we need to see. But, football is too competitive. The great
Mhm.
thing about this sport is if I'm out there and I'm trying to be safe because I don't want to get hurt because I'm going to be a free agent next year, I'm going to get hurt. Football is the type where you got to go all out. You've got to give it your all
Mhm.
immediately, every play, every game. And if you don't, that's when bad things happen. And football players are, naturally hyper competitive. So that hyper competitiveness will take over.
Mhm.
And, when that does, we tend to see good performances. So I don't know if it's like going out there, this one's for Jerry. Like, no, I don't see that. But I do see a team that understands they've got good players. This is
Yeah.
the thing, the fire George Payton stuff, which obviously Payton needs to be better because Isaiah Pacheco, Tariq Woolen is arguably better than Pat Surtain,
Mhm.
and he was a 5th-round pick. Like, I don't think he is, but you can
Mhm.
make that argument because homeboy has like 3 pick sixes and I think 6 interceptions on the year.
Jeez.
He's 6'4", runs a 4.2. You could have had him in the 5th round, but you had to get Delarian Turner Yell the pick before. So I'm not
Mhm.
letting George Payton off the hook whatsoever. But I will tell you this, there's good football players on this team.
For
The
sure.
fact that we've seen flashes and they put up a fight against Kansas City last time, Duh. Like they've got good players. They've had injuries, whatever. But how many injuries were on? Name any opponent that you've seen so far this year. How many injuries have we seen throughout this year? How many different iterations of, let's say, for example, the Chargers line have we seen? There's been like 15 different versions of that line. Like you've had all these other teams. So the players are good. These are good players. Not all of them. There's some slappies out there, but not all of them. But it's not like this whole team is full of slappies. And they're running around like Keystone Cops out there because of Nathaniel Hackett. So will they play good football? I think some will. And I look forward to seeing whoever that small group is.
And Mace said he thinks that this could get ugly. Well, we saw how well that they did play against Kansas City. They are very well aware of the losing streak there. So you kind of do hope they go out. But are you expecting an ugly game? Because they were the bottom of the bottom, right? And then they still showed up against Kansas City.
They could beat them today. They're the most dangerous team in the league. Because when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose. The Chiefs, I don't want to be a vulgar, but they're pretty clenched today. Things are clenched in Kansas City because Buffalo, who Monday night's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great. But Buffalo's ahead of Kansas City. Kansas City's got a lot to lose. Denver has nothing to lose. They can go out and they can play loose and they can play free, and they got a no-nonsense coach. There's a chance they win. I'm not saying they will. I'm not predicting it. I don't think they will. I just hope they don't get crushed like they did against the Rams on Christmas. I don't think that happens either because, again, you're playing competitive and you're against the best in the league. Like, this is a time where if you did want to play spoiler, I mean, talk about your Super Bowl. You play spoiler to the Chiefs because if the Chiefs lose one, it doesn't matter. They're never going to catch Buffalo, which means they're playing on Wild Card Weekend.
I've been saying all week it would be the most Denver thing for them to go into Kansas City to disrupt the Chiefs and with Jerry Rosburg as the head coach, right? Like I can't even imagine the conversations that will occur if that were to happen. But you did mention something earlier, Cecil, about the next coaching staff. So we have to talk for just a few minutes about Michigan losing to TCU 51-45, now opening up the conversation about Jim Harbaugh. Is it good or is it bad that Michigan lost? Do you think he wanted to go out and win? I mean, he obviously wanted to win a national championship, but does he want to finish business in Michigan before he possibly looks at the NFL again?
Well, with the transfer portal, I mean, and it's Michigan and they'll be back or whatever I have to say. But like, if he wants to, he can come here if he wants to. And Jim Harbaugh might be the most realistic, big name coaches you can get because the Sean Payton thing's not going to happen. Okay, as much as I would love it to happen, that's my pipe dream. That's just going to be a dream. Jim Harbaugh is real. So is it a good thing Michigan lost? Yes, because I'll use an old Dennis Miller line. You may never be more blank than you are right now. Now fill in the blank. And this is for all of us in all walks of life. You may never be more rich than you are right now. You may never be more happy than you are right now. And as a coach, there's a ceiling for everybody. Like this is all Michigan can do with Jim Harbaugh. That's all they can do. That's all and that's a lot, obviously. And it's cool, but like winning it all and being Nick Saban of the Big Ten, like that's not going to happen. Yeah. So does he realize that, or is he stubborn and he wants to stick around and whatever? He can have a ton of control here in Denver. He can run a good offense. He can make Russell Wilson look good. He did it with Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was very, very limited as a passer. He'd make 2 reads and he'd run. And they got to the Super Bowl. They should have won the Super Bowl, except the lights went out or whatever. And stupid Baltimore. Actually, Denver should have been there. Denver was the best team in the league that year. The 2012 Broncos were the best team in the league. And stupid Baltimore, stupid 13 below. And then the next Saturday, because that game was on Saturday, the next Saturday I was with my kids at Red Rocks and it was 60 degrees. And I was like, why couldn't have this happened last week? I digress. I'm getting off track as I often do. But like, Harbaugh is the target. Harbaugh should be the target for the Broncos. Culture, consistency, experience. This is all the things that Greg Penner talked about at his press conference last week. You get it in one man, Jim Harbaugh.
Now, can they get him to come out? It'll be interesting. I'm assuming he'll most likely take an interview, but we'll find out at DenverFan.com. Keep you guys updated. We'll be back for halftime chill during halftime. Can the Broncos keep up with the Chiefs or maybe even surprise us? We're going to find out. Everybody enjoy kickoff. Cecil, as always, a pleasure and happy New Year's. We'll see everybody in just a little. Bye, everyone.